Hey there, it's Olivia-Savannah here from Olivia's Catastrophe, and today I'm here to talk about how I am going on a year-long buying ban. I know I'm really committing to it, and I'm really looking forward to doing this because you have seen my I Counted My Books video and you know that it's nighttime that I go on a book buying ban. So in this video I'm just going to tell you my history with buying bans, how it's going to work, and what I've been doing to reduce my TBR so far and why I feel like it's time for drastic measures and I'm in the mood to do this again. So let's get right back to my buying ban history. I have gone on many successful buying bans in the past. I've done month-long ones intermittently multiple times. I'm not even sure how many times, but I've also done a 6-month buying ban, which was very successful and was incredibly helpful to me. And I've also done a year-long buying ban before, and the last time I did it was 2019 to 2020, and I successfully didn't buy books for a whole year. So it's about time that I bring it back. I have been buying books when I want to for the past 2 years, I would say, because it's 2022. But even then, the first year in 2021, I had a method in place, which was a buying ban goal instead of a full-on buying ban. And for 1 year, I only bought 2 books per month, and one of them was a book I'd already read and wanted to add to my collection, and the other was a book that I had not read before and wanted to add to my TBR. And that was going all fine and well until I thought I was past the need for it, so I decided to let myself buy anything, and so my TBR grew and grew and grew. But quite a lot has changed in terms of my lifestyle since then, which has increased my buying ban habits. The first thing that happened was I moved to the UK, and suddenly there were English language books everywhere for a very reasonable price, and therefore it's much harder to say no when you're in the works and books only cost £3 for 2 books or something. So moving to the UK really shifted that. I also work in publishing, and working with books all day means that sometimes there are quite a few books around you that are free that you can take home. And also moving to the UK means more opportunities have opened up in terms of attending book launches or being contacted by publishers to review books or even requesting books from publishers. And if they are based in the UK, they're much more likely to send me a review copy here than they did when I was living in the Netherlands or on my year abroad. So therefore, moving to the UK and my job and circumstance has enabled me to get more books. And last but not least, I've become a book bargain queen. I love going to secondhand bookshops. I often go to them to donate my books, and while I'm there donating, I browse the shelves, and if I see something, I do tend to pick it up, and it's easy to end up with 20 books when books only cost £3. I did realise and acknowledge after I counted my books back on the 1st of June that I had too many books on my TBR, and even though I am not ashamed of having a big TBR, I love a big healthy TBR because I'm a mood reader who likes lots and lots of choice. I do think at some point it gets a bit ridiculous, and I'm approaching the number that I personally consider ridiculous, and I've always prided myself on having more read books than I own unread books, and I think that at least if I keep that balance in place of having more read books than unread, I'm doing something right, and that is perilous right now. That is in threat of going the other way. So I decided it was time for me to take bigger measures, and I set myself a book budget, and I had 1 month on my book budget, and it was working really well for me. I was sticking to it, and my book budget was that every time I read a book I would get £1.25 added to my book budget. So if I wanted to buy a book that cost £10, I needed to have read about 8 books for me to make the money in my spending budget to be able to buy that book. It did mean also that I would need to read about 3 books before I could afford a second-hand book that would cost £3, and I was really enjoying using my book budget. But the reality of the book budget is it did not penalise me for when I received free books, if they were gifts, if they were review copies or whatnot from other people's unhauls or something. It didn't really account for those books, and so I thought, even though I'm enjoying having a book budget, what I want to do is take another step forwards, and the next step forwards is a year-long buying ban. So I'm gonna go on another year-long buying ban. I've done it before and I know I can do it again, and it's actually already been happening by the time you see this video. I started it halfway through June, and it's going to go until 2023, the 1st of July, so it's going going to be a bit over a year, and the rule of this buying ban is I cannot buy any books for myself. Of course, I can still buy books to gift to other people, but no spending money on books for myself except for one book. I'm allowed to buy myself one book in that whole year, and it's not allowed to be any other book than Grey Warren by Marcus D. Farter. That is the third and final book in the Dreamer trilogy. I thought it was going to be okay for me to give myself one exception because The Raven Cycle is one of my favourite book series of all time, and it's going to be the last book that is set in the Raven Cycle universe, and I think if anything, I'm allowed to get that book, and I would have actually pre-ordered it so that I could fully stick to my buying ban, but I can't do that because I want an edition that will match all of my other editions, and I have to wait for the book box to announce that edition. Speaking of though, I've got no other pre-orders coming in, so there will be no pre-orders through this year. There will be no books that I buy. The only way I'm allowed to acquire books is if they are entirely free. That is if I get a book from work, that is if I was gifted a book, or that is if someone is unhauling a book and they're not charging for their unhauled books and I get to say, yes, I would like that book. So those are the only ways I get books. So I'm not believing, or I'm under the false impression that I will not be hauling any books. I've also got a giveaway that's happening for the rest of the year. I won a giveaway back in January, and that is that I will get every single book Hotkey Books publishes. So every month I get all of the books that Hotkey published. And so because of that giveaway win, I do know that I will be getting new books every single month. And so there will still be hauls on this channel, but I do think the fact that I was getting free books and was still buying books on top of that really left no room for my TBR to decrease. So I'm hoping that that is going to change everything and things are going to be very strong. And I've decided to make a video because that is actually one of my #1 tips for doing a buying ban, is to broadcast to everyone everywhere. I've told my mum, I've told my siblings, I've told Instagram, and now I'm telling YouTube. And all of that is really going to help with holding me accountable. I also do some other tips and tricks for sticking to a buying ban, which is unsubscribe to every book related newsletter you get. You don't want to know about discounts when they're happening. It's not going to help you in your journey. I'll also say avoid bookshops for the first 2 to 3 weeks, because after the first 2 to 3 weeks of not buying a book, it's like you've gone over the hardest part of your book buying habits, possibly addictions, and after that you just lose the will to buy a book, and then it becomes even easier to go into a bookshop and browse and not buy anything. So avoid bookshops for the first 2 to 3 weeks, unsubscribe from every discount book newsletter you're getting, and keep a list of the books that come out during the year or you see on people's channels and such throughout the year that you might want to buy later down the line. I love keeping a list of the books that I'm excited about and not buying them, because then once my buying ban is over, and I'm hoping to re-implement my book buying budget, or my only allowed to buy 2 books, one read, unread, after the buying ban, so that I don't get too excited about being able to buy books again. But if you implement a soft reintegration into buying books and you look at that list that you've made throughout the year, you will be able to easily cross off almost 50% of the list, because you'll have lost interest over half a year. And if you don't buy a book immediately, you will be better able to judge whether your interest has lasted or not over a span of time. So those are all the tips and tricks that I can give you, and I hope that you have enjoyed hearing about this book buying ban. Thanks in advance if you're going to be cheering along with me and holding me accountable. But please let me know in the comment section down below, have you ever tried a book buying ban yourself, and how did that go for you? What were some of the things that you did or wish you'd done so that it could have been successful? Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to be updated every time I have a new video. And you know what they say, onwards and upwards, Excelsior.